Okay, we're live, Simon.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh gosh, it is a very dodgy hat, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Actually, that's one of the things that you'll get used to over the next few weeks, is my selection of dodgy hats.
It's going to be 35 degrees today,
Yeah.
so dodgy hat needs to happen.
weather.
But I think we'll just turn it round. This is, you trying to turn it round. Oh,
right.
Yes, we'll look at some vines.
Oh, here you are. Give that to me then. You chit chat.
So this is Bourboulenc, which we planted 3 years ago, 2020, and it's a white grape variety that grows in Lac.
I need to be the other side because I'm just conscious that the sun's shining there. There we go. That's better, I think. Yeah.
So you will see that we have irrigation here, which we installed this year.
Yeah.
We tried to, we planted over a hectare of young vines in 2020, and it's fair to say that some of them took really well, and some of them really struggled through lack of water. We just couldn't. We were watering them with a hose, and we had a very dry year last year, and we couldn't water them quickly enough. So some vines have established really well, like that one there.
Although there are some that are in the middle of there that are sort of more
vigorous than that even, and then some like this are really, considering they're 3 years old, are a bit feeble. So we installed irrigation this year, which is dripping away at the moment, and just to help these vines get established, so that we can have a fully functioning, fully cropping vineyard in a couple of years' time. We will get some crop off this.
Well, these smaller ones we're going to cut off anyway, aren't we?
Well, I mean, that's got nothing.
Yeah.
But any of the smaller ones that do have grapes, we will cut off the grapes, because we want the vine to establish its root system and develop a core trunk, a bit like this one is doing.
Yeah. But you know what's nice, looking at this here, is that I mean, somebody will sort of say, does it matter that the water is dripping in between the vines? No, it doesn't, because it goes down to the roots anyway. But what is nice is that there's no competition from weeds after everything we did last week, because if everybody remembers, we were weeding last week.
We hand-weeded.
We hand-weeded, and effectively we hand-weeded the whole of this last week, between us and our Polish friends. So it means that, because otherwise you end up, when you're irrigating the soil under the vine, but you're also irrigating the weeds, so you have to manually remove them. So we're doing the irrigation now. Ideally, I think it would probably be better to do it at night, because you'd have less evaporation. But the problem is that we don't have an electricity supply up here, so we have to use a generator. Which you can probably hear in the background, actually. Yeah. Yeah,
start the pump, and if you leave it overnight, somebody will nick it.
Yeah.
Frankly. So
this is sort of realities versus theory versus reality, isn't it? Yeah, because well, one, it would be too noisy for the houses. Well, there's only one house, and it's over there. We don't really want to do it for them. But also, as Jules says, it would probably get nicked. So I've got lots of security on it. Anyway, it's an imperfect solution, but it is a solution to mean that we will establish a vineyard. Now, the Bourboulenc there, I reckon half the vines there will produce some fruit this year, but it may only be like 1 or 2 bunches each vine, so it's maybe a bit under half. Are you going to put all of our whites together this year, or?
Well, that's a very good question. I think that I don't know yet. We have 3 white grape varieties here. We have the Bourboulenc you've just seen. We've got Grenache Gris, and we've got Assyrtiko, and there is more Assyrtiko than anything else.
Yeah, you can see we're watering this one as well.
This has actually...
Just on the watering, when we put this watering system on, because of the way this works, I'll see if I can show you. Here we go, yeah. You see that it comes out in these drips. Now, these drips are a certain size. The holes, they're just there. Certain size. There's a little valve at the back of it, and they give 1.6 millimeters, equivalent of 1.6 millimeters of rain every hour. And so here, you know exactly how much you put on it, because you just measure the amount of time that you have the pump going for.
This vine here, this has got 2 2.5 bunches, but it's quite a well-established vine with a good leaf cover. So I think we leave those grapes. I think it's well established enough in it to ripen those grapes. So
maybe
we will leave them.
if we're going to be, we could take these graffions off.
Yeah, well, you
top.
wouldn't actually harvest them.
Yeah, we
anyway,
wouldn't harvest them anyway. I'll take them off anyway.
And this one here has 1 bunch.
That's 2.
Oh, it's got 3 actually. That's borderline whether it's probably all right. So my task for the next week is to go through these young vines and literally look at every single one and say, can this vine ripen the grapes it's got? But the answer is no. Or if it's just too feeble and it will...
Can you just put that wire on while you're over there? Because you can see that one's getting slightly out of... The wire has just popped.
What, this one here?
Yeah. Keep it tied in.
Yeah. There we go.
And then that just tidies them all up, so when I come down through the tractor, I don't knock them all off. In fact, I should have been doing a treatment this morning, because it's due, and I got up at 6 o'clock this morning to come and do a treatment, and then it was very, very windy. It's beginning to calm down now, but now the sun is coming up, so it's going to be a hot day. So actually you can still see from the trees over there, it's still quite breezy. So, and it's calmed down quite a lot, but so I'm going to have to do that tonight now. So after the scorching heat of the day. So anyway, enough. Again, it's more practicalities versus ideals, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, hey ho. Here what? In fact, to Juliet, far more interesting.
Yeah, you asked me a question about whether we'd put all the white grapes together.
Oh dear, that is sweet.
The answer is I'd like to keep the Assyrtiko separate, but there's a certain practical issue. There's really not that much Grenache Gris. You know, yes, you could harvest that bunch there when it's ripe, lovely. But most of the ones over there are actually quite small, and so they will produce none, if any, grapes. And there comes a point, if you end up with, I don't know, 100 kilos of grapes that will give you 50 litres of wine, actually vinifying it separately is quite difficult without it being exposed to oxygen. And so there may have to be a bit of a pragmatic, yes, we do Assyrtiko, but there may be a bit of Grenache Gris in it at the same time. And also, will they be ripe at the same time as well? The Grenache Gris might be a little bit earlier.
Can I pass that over to you for a second? I just need to move that stone.
Oh yeah, Simon went through the vineyard yesterday, last week, moving stones. Hello, Joe. Hello, Bob. Yeah. So the trouble with these stones is that going through the machine, they can sometimes get, well, not blocked by the machine, but they can, they end up being in the way of the machine and get pushed onto a vine. And we've actually lost a couple of vines, of the young vines, because a big stone has got dislodged and squashed it, basically.
Just while I see them
but
now.
You know what, this does look pretty good, this vineyard. I know some of the vines, they're a bit weedy to produce fruit this year, but I think it's getting there.
Yeah.
I think...
well, the watering this year has made a huge difference. And
look at that. Isn't that a nice bunch of grapes? Grenache Gris. Oh, yes. You're not ripe yet, but next month you will be.
Yeah. That's a bit of wind damage. That's a shame, because that was part of our form. Yeah.
So, should we just go up to the plateau and look at the Assyrtiko and see how that's coming on? I don't know if I've shown anyone, but we have a new toy in the winery. Actually, we're getting 2 new toys in the winery for this next harvest. We've just ordered a new stainless steel tank, which has got
for cooling,
temperature control cooling in it. We have a couple already, but we're going a smaller one, which will be better suited to the whites that we've got. We had smaller tanks, but no cooling in them, so you had to put like a radiator in them, which meant you couldn't put the top on, which meant it wasn't so good for keeping oxygen out.
Have we talked about our Santorini corner?
No, you talk about your Santorini corner.
Which is my Santorini corner.
So it's your idea.
But, well, what we're going to do with these...
These are Assyrtiko.
This is Assyrtiko. And so the majority we put on wires. as with the rest of the vineyard.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a corner where we're going to try and recreate a little bit of Santorini. So we're going to kill all the weeds and then put some flanking sheeting of some description, something, don't quite know how we're going to do that yet. And then we're going to put a layer of pumice stone.
Yeah, there's pumice stone, volcanic soil, and that's the soil in, and there's quite a lot of pumice stone there.
Yeah, and then we're going to prune it to do the calora.
Yeah, either the calora, which is the basket shape kind of pruning they do in Santorini, and there's also another type, which is
Princess Leia
it's
pruning.
a bit higher. I think that might be more suitable.
Yeah, because here,
So we've missed the boat for it this year, but I think next year.
Yeah, but to sort of to turn it round like this and turn it into a coil like that, sticking up on a.
So I think we do it next year. Yeah. For next year, so we'll have a little sort of faux Santorini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to show us your grapes?
Yes, go on. There we go. Assyrtiko. They're quite loose bunches, aren't they?
Yeah. But I think the grapes will get quite a bit bigger, won't they?
They will.
And probably fill in a lot of those gaps. Of course, that's looking well.
Yeah. They're all looking well, and I think. But what we need to do, Simon, is estimate the yields we're going to get here. Literally, we need to go and count the number of bunches.
Yeah.
On this vineyard, and then say, well, is it enough for a press? Is it enough for what quantity is it going to give us? You work on average bunch per vine, average bunch weight, number of vines, and you do an estimate, which usually we've done that before with other grape varieties, and it's been, fairly accurate. The trouble with white grapes, it's more difficult to see them than red grapes.
Yeah.
So you can sometimes get it a bit wrong. But I think we can start to do that, over the next couple of weeks.
It's a nice, healthy little load over there.
Because we then need to think about, okay, we're going to hand pick them in the morning when it's cool. But after about 10 o'clock, you don't want to be picking them because it's too hot. And then you want to try and cool them somehow. Either have, with something they do in Greece quite a lot, is have a sort of a cool room to put them in, but we'd have to hire a sort of fridge, so I don't know quite how we do that. Or you just process them really quickly and cool the juice as quickly as possible. And maybe use a bit of dry ice as well along the way in the press. That could be quite cool.
Yeah, well, you've had to go with that before, haven't you?
Yeah, I quite like that.
Well, it is a bit like a disco.
Yeah. Yes. So we haven't got the answer. Well, we've got a number of possible ways of doing it. No one which is sort of, there's advantages and disadvantages of each level, but it's really quite exciting thinking of that, how we're going to make it, how we're going to manage the temperature, what quantities we're going to have. Do we do Assyrtiko on its own, or is it possible to do Bourboulenc? But Bourboulenc will probably ripen a bit later.
Yes, because initially you thought that Assyrtiko was going to be a late ripener, but if our experience of Greece suggested it's going to be earlier than we anticipated.
So from the 20th of August, we need to be checking the sugar levels of this
every day,
because from what we've heard, it's a grape variety that suddenly gets very ripe very quickly. And we don't want to make an Assyrtiko that's 15% alcohol and low sugars and low acidity. Sorry. So we want to wait till it's fully ripe, but at the same time you want to keep the acidity. And if it has to be on the 20th of August, then so be it. Actually, they sometimes
we'll be ready.
Mid-August.
Yeah, we'll be ready.
Yeah, we'll be ready.
So just looking here, so this is Assyrtiko here, and then just below us there you can see the Bourboulenc. So the Bourboulenc is normally associated with La Clappe, which I think you can probably see it over there, right in the distance, this little notch on the hillside. Anyway, that's La Clappe over there. So, but I suspect we'll be ripening before La Clappe. So, what else are you going to say, my love, before we say goodbye?
I get the feeling that we're sort of, in terms of the work we do in the vineyard for this season, I know you've got to do a treatment this evening and probably one more treatment against fungal disease before harvest.
Yep, and then I need to plough as well.
Why do you need to plough?
Well, because, ironically, when you plough, you reduce evaporation, because, I can show you. You can see just here, the soil is beginning to crack as it's dry. And the problem is with the cracks is that they allow the deeper humidity to evaporate. And so you break up the surface and it reduces the evaporation.
Okay. I'm never sure about that.
There's sceptical face.
Yes, I've got sceptical face, you're right. Anyway.
So anyway, do you want to wrap up?
So because counting grapes, preparing for harvest, managing fungal disease, although you're at the end of that, ploughing, and just making sure these young vines, this is the only place we have irrigation. Our other vineyards don't have irrigation, so that's not an option. But they're established vineyards. So managing the water here. And then I think we could take a few days off in the beginning of August, do you think?
Well, it'd be nice.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Summer holidays. Summer holidays are here. It's 35 degrees today.
Yeah.
Lots of tourists on the road, so it's definitely summertime. Oh, and if anyone who lives in the area wants a vineyard tour on Wednesday, we are doing vineyard tours and tastings in the vineyard from 6 o'clock every Wednesday in July and August now. So, so contact us to reserve your place. But otherwise, maybe see you next week.
And keep drinking rosé.
Keep drinking rosé, yes. Our rosé is delicious. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.